Hey guys, we'll talk about GXAI. More longs. Did try short near market open, thought I was big branding it. Um, but really it was super bullish. But it doesn't matter because I caught two longs, one in the pre-market, one at after the high day clear out. So these are both super bullish patterns. Been covering it a lot in the Discord lately. First of all, nothing was really moving today, right? So up until this point, there wasn't any big consistent volume pre-market runners. Um, and sometimes that means if there's absolutely nothing running, if something pops, um, it has the most potential to get volume in the stock just because there aren't other tickers really moving or pushing. It's a minor factor. It's a minor bullish factor. But when I see nothing else running and then something starts gapping with nice, consistent volume like this, it's a minor bullish factor I care about. But the main bullish factor that happened was we got our initial push, right, and we get this instant pullback, right. We've seen um, these quick pullbacks be really strong, right, especially if it's to the 1 minute 20 or the 1 minute 50, especially the 1 minute 20. So the 1 minute 20 EMA was literally this line. This is literally how it looked. I'll go to my Thinkorswim, but I saw it get walked down. But what I'm looking for um, bid support on the book on the 1 minute 20, and especially if there's increasing bid support, right? So early on, when it first touched the 1 minute 20, there was maybe a bid here, but it wasn't very obvious that the stock was going to get supported on the 1 minute 20. But then when it started bouncing two, three more times, we started seeing bids come in. And now there actually wasn't a bad long, right? At about 850, 851 here. We'll see on the book that there's a lot of bid stacks here. But I wasn't looking at the play at the time. I kind of caught the play after this knife. And if you saw my video from yesterday, I talked about how a lot of times in low floats, the best longs come after these quick knife moves with zoom in. I didn't even mean to do that. Can I go back to my thing? These quick knife moves with bids catching the stock, right? Especially if bids start to refresh and bids start to follow the stock up, it tends to be really strong. So I really like this. This was a perfect entry signal. And I always like to wait a few minutes for the bids to hold. It gives you the cleanest read. Um, and, a lot of times it takes stocks, 3 to 5 minutes to rotate anyway. Sometimes you get an instant rotation, but a lot of times it kind of hangs around for about 3 to 5 minutes at the least before rotating. So I do like to wait a little bit. Um, I started getting we got another quick little knife candle here. There's a bunch of bids following the stock up and it pushed towards highs. I take a little bit off on what could be a long trap entry, but I was pretty bullish the stock, especially market conditions. Market conditions is pre-market and market open has seen a lot of continuation, right? So there's really, no need in my mind to look for the short on a play where we have a bullish structure, we have good volume, we have knife candles with bid support, we have follow-up bids. It was really nice. So I sold along, but then they started pulling a bunch of bids up here. And I always say that, once stocks start clearing their main liquidity targets, um, if there is no significant bid follow up, it's often a good idea to get out when support levels start to get cracked, right? Or like when this little what is this 10.5 range started to get cracked. I was like, you know what? Let me get out. Protect my profits and maybe get ready for the short, that type of thing. But a couple things. This is a potential high day clear out short trap. Whenever you get a quick rejection from high day, which we see over here, this wick into here, uh, in a stronger market, especially on stocks pushing in a pre-market and market open, a high day swipe and a quick dump has been very strong, very, very, very strong. Um, but I thought I was doing some like super big brain short pattern here, right? They kind of give a failed push, they swipe VWAP and $10, they push it back up, and it started stalling right under high day. And I thought they were gonna, rug pull it. I thought people were gonna chase and were gonna rug pull it, and then the bids came in, and once I saw the bids came in, I just got out into the 1050, the 1150 ask and taken out. Um, Overall, a pretty small loss, and then especially compared to the long, and then the stock up halted. Right now, I never short out of up halts, and I pretty much never long out of them either. Um, and the thing about up halts is there's a lot of games like this. There's a lot of games where a stock up halts, it pulls back to trap people, and it squeezes back up. Now, it's really hard to get a read on these sometimes because the volatility is so kind of insane that if you look on the book, it's going up and down like 10, 15% every like 20 seconds, and it's like really in the a lot of times the entry, it's hard to read where the bids are and to get it, a tight risk entry. However, it did this high day clear out huge wick candle, right? So, like I said, high day clear outs on really strong stocks with really good volume, especially in the morning like this where we've seen many plays over the past 2 weeks push. I would say high day clear outs and strong stocks aren't good patterns. And this was even better because now we got the 1 minute 20 here. The 1 minute 20 was right here, and it did the quick dub pattern right into the 1 minute 20, and there was super clear bids on the book. It just rotates and squeezes everybody. You can't. I guess I'm too far zoomed in. There we go. Um, and yeah, and then as you start getting farther and farther and farther away, and the stock starts getting more extended, you really want to um, protect your profits. Shout out to Mikey Underdog. Came into my room and said 15.5 was a major target for him. And I saw the stock start to stall around that area, and I saw the pullback where these support levels on the 1 minute were getting broken. I just decided to get out. I was thinking of shorting here, but I wanted this to break 14, and it never did. 14 and maybe even a slower high. Both of those would have been really nice, but it ended up just rejecting, and they did an offering end of day just now, so missed a whole fade on that. But it's not that I'm like avoiding the short. It's more like I'm waiting for specific levels to get broken that end up not getting broken. And the long signals, especially during the pre-market and market open, have been super clean. So we'll look at that, right? So here's our initial push. Zoom in here. We have nice volume, 100K, 100K, 200K. Not bad, especially on a $10 stock. It's pretty decent. GXAI also made some manipulated moves, a month ago. So it's definitely a low float manipulated stock. Gets walked down. I see the 1 minute 20 holding. And then here's the knife candle. It ate through a bunch of bids, and then a bunch of new bids came in here. This is where I longed. And then, yeah, I mean, you could just see the 1 minute 20. Here's the other long. Here's a high to clear out. Here's the 1 minute 20. We saw a bunch of bids. So let's just look at the bids. Probably be a shorter video because the idea behind this pattern is pretty straightforward. So here's the initial pre-market push. Here's the first pullback. There are some bids here, but you don't just want to long into the very first bid you see on the 1 minute 20, 1 minute 50. It's usually best to wait for multiple tests of support and waiting for multiple stacks of bids to come in. That's usually the cleanest play. But you see a lot of these little moves have no bids following it up, which is why they knife. Like we get a aggressive push, knifes, aggressive move, knife, but now we start to get bids coming in. This was nice. This was actually not bad. But what they decided to do is they did a mini push. Here's that knife I was talking about, and here that you could see clear as day. Even though there were ask up here, I just thought based on the chart, the volume, the fact that it was the only stock running, the fact that this we're in a market where these types of moves are working in the pre-market and market open. This is obviously why I started to go long on this bid support. Knife into bid support. Here's that second mini knife into bid support. And a nice big push up to high day. Here's the high day squeeze. You could see the bids start to get real thin, which is why, I was taking profits on this initial push and on the high day clear out. I'm taking profits because, you really want to be aggressive with selling your long when the bids, especially I've seen before where there's bid support at lower levels, but since there's not bid support at higher levels, it increases the chance that um, the top is in, even though in this case, obviously, the market open volume came in. Um, like I said, I never like long in at 9:30 for this exact reason. A lot of my market open, I didn't hit the market open long because I shorted this push up here. But this is a good reason why you almost, in most situations, you don't want to long in 9:30. In fact, a much better strategy is to wait for the knife at 9:30 and look for the long at 9:31, 9:32, 9:33. Those tend to be much better, right? So if you see pushing right out the gate at 9:30, um, it's, in low floats, it's just usually the play to wait for the pullback, let it pull back into bids, let it, swipe key support levels. Like here, it swiped $10. People are going to be risking $10. So it swipes $10, and then you get a nice book where, especially on these aggressive dumps, there's a relatively empty book to the upside. You see the bids soaking down here, and they start to rotate it. And this is when I started to get out. Here's 11.5 is holding, 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 and then they just stacked. Whenever you see big bid stacks like this come in, a stock starts hitting a resistance level 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and then they start like the market maker just comes in and shoves like 4 layers of bids on it. It usually means it's going to go up after multiple tests of the same level. They're just trying to initiate the stock. It up halts, and here is the high day clear out after the up halt. Right, high day clear out. There's no bids under it. I don't want to take this short though because I just don't think high day clear out is a good pattern on what I think is a strong stock. And here's the 1 minute 20 pullback. You see right here and right here, you could see the bid stack. And this is where I went long, right? This is why I went long right in here because of the empty space, because of the short trap pattern, because of the 1 minute 20, and because of the bids. And then it just rotated up. And you can see here, you can see bid follow up. When you go long on these, of course, I always take some profit into the high day breakout no matter what. But this is nice. You see bid follow up here. You see bid follow. You could keep holding, but as we start getting towards the top, you could start to see the bids start to thin out, right? They start to really thin out up here, and that's why you want to be aggressive, taking your profits, right? We're getting well past the point where the market open and the up halt shorts are getting squeezed, right? Those guys have gotten squeezed. Who's left to get squeezed? Now, of course, in a low float, a stock can go up 1,000, 2,000, 3,000%. But a lot of times, a lot of your longs, if you're longing at the top here, I'm longing at, high 11s, low 12s, right? On a stock that's up 150%. And, you get a nice like 20, 30% push from that. And the bids start to thin out, is this going to be the ticker that runs 2,000% today and you got in when it was at 150%? Maybe. But statistically, that's, incredibly unlikely. And the best thing you could really use is the bid support on the book to let you know how long to hold, right? So, and then, yeah, by the way, here's that move that I wanted for. I wanted this 14 ass to get filled. They did a little fake 1 minute flag pattern. They push us up on relatively little bid, and they did this second push, hits the ask, and they pull it right. And you actually see them start to pull some of the bid here. But I was looking at this lower high. I was looking at this ask. Maybe 14 getting swiped. Maybe a little retail chase into a 14 swipe and then a pull. Never got it. Obviously, it was dumb because now it's down 50% from this entry, but what can I do? So, anyways, that's the video for today. GXAI. Only other trade I took was Holo was a great long, but I missed it. But I did short the 11.5. Here's an example of my level actually getting attacked. I was waiting for 11.5 to get pushed on here. I was like, very similar to GXAI where I wanted 14 to get pushed. I was waiting for 7.5 to get pushed. even though this is a very thin, grindy multi-day runner, so I only made like 10% on this. I'm not really expecting a deep fade. Uh, but this was nice. No bid follow-up. It swiped this is at 12:40 p.m. on Holo. It swiped 7.5. It pulled back under 7.5. They restacked the ask, and it pulled back. It came back up for a test. The test didn't go anywhere, and it faded down to sub 650, and now it's grinding back up because it's super thin. It's on a multi-day run. It's hard to get a big deep fade out of something like this, with this type of fade volume and the fact that it's on a multi-day runner. So, but yeah, decent little trade on there. And that's all I did today. So that is it. I'll actually just show you the holo trade on the chart really fast. Here's the candle at 7.5. You can see lower high paint, $half. I wanted them to swipe that. I like the higher lows. I always consider this bearish, especially if a stock is already squeezed earlier. I liked how there was a bunch of, there's a painted trend line going up into this 7.5 swipe. I like that 7.5 was decently painted. There wasn't a massive amount of volume in the stock, and it already did a huge squeeze. So yeah, it was nice. It just, it's not going to be a 40-50% fade. It's going to be it's going to be 10%, but it's a nice pattern, and it worked. So, anyways, yeah, here's GXAI, pretty interesting. Here's the offering end of day, and yeah, that'll be it for today. And information down below about the Discord if you're interested in joining. And you guys have a good one. See ya.